Cheers, everybody. Welcome back to another video. If you are here, then congratulations. You clicked on the video probably because of this clickbait-ish title. But in all seriousness, I want to discuss today how we really can use our logical faculties to manifest rather than using what is traditionally called the feelings, the emotions. You know, everybody talks about getting to the right emotion, dwelling in that right vibratory state. And while I do think those things can work, I want to also share with you how you can use logic to manifest. So, as we know, as Neville Goddard says, right, the feeling is the secret, right? That is what is promoted in essentially all of the mainstream dialogues that we have around these concepts, in Esther Hicks and in that vibrational scale of consciousness, wanting to get into those better states, those better feeling states, right? So that's good, that can work, but a lot of the times we don't necessarily feel that great. We don't necessarily feel good. And sometimes it feels like we're forcing ourselves to get into this state, right? This state of the wish fulfilled, or this state of, well-being, and, things in our external reality are such that it feels inauthentic to be dwelling in this state, right? It's kind of like the toxic positivity thing, like not allowing ourselves to actually feel like shit sometimes. And this has also been referred to as spiritual bypassing, right? Now, I do have ideas, and there are tons of ideas out there on how to reach for those better feeling states, but the focus of this video right now is going to be on the fact that those feeling states, these emotional wavelengths or frequencies or vibrations, a lot of the times, these are not first principle ideas. There's this idea of, and Elon Musk talks about this a lot, but like first principles thinking. If you get down to the very bare bones of something, why is it that we're having these emotional states? Why is it that we get triggered? Well, something happens in our external world, and then we translate that into a thought. So something's not going right in our relationship, and we have this thinking that, why does this always happen to me? Why am I not able to deal with this? Why is this person doing this? These thoughts then are what generate these negative feelings. We don't just have these feelings that come out of nowhere. They are tied into these thoughts. This is why I say a lot of the time, it's not really feeling that's the secret, it's awareness that's the secret. Because the universe, the God, whatever you want to call it, infinite intelligence, in the beginning there was the word, right? In the beginning there was thought awareness, the mental outpicturing of that which is that we're receiving. And in quantum physics, there's the observer effect, right? That which we observe is being affected constantly and consistently by the participant that is observing the effect, right? And so the law of correspondence, these things are inextricably linked. So when we come to this kind of understanding, we can see that, yes, our emotions play a role in our vibratory state. They play a role in what we're attracting to us. That's all well and good. But the first part of that is, what are we aware of? What are we dwelling on in our consciousness? What is the dominating thoughts, and what is dominating our awareness? And a lot of the times, that's going to be a thought. It's going to be an awareness of having or not having. It's an awareness of being or not being. It's an awareness of doing or not being able to do this certain thing that we want to do, right? So when we get into this, when we look at it through this perspective, we can see that actually, if I logically decide that I want to entertain this thought rather than that thought, well, there kind of is no other choice then, because by me imprinting on my subconscious, say that I have option A, which is the old story, this negative story of the outer circumstances and my reactions to them and why things aren't playing out the way I want them to. And then there's option B over here, which is saying, well, what if this could happen? What if I could achieve this? What if things could work out better than I could have imagined? Now we are, by virtue of focusing on option B, option A is slowly getting pushed out of the picture, right? It's getting pushed out of the frame. You can only really think about one thing at a time. People think they can think about multiple things at a time, but really what you're doing is thinking about this, then this, then this, then this. So by reorienting your focus and using your selection of your awareness, what you choose to dwell on in your awareness and your conscious thinking, now you are focused on B, and B is taking up your primary consciousness. B is what you are dwelling on. B is what you are aware of. You are aware of now being, let's say, capable. Let's say you are aware of being somebody that is dynamic. You're able to be flexible. You are able to rise to the occasion. You are able to land on your 2 feet. You are able to always come out on top. You start thinking these things through your robotic affirmation practice, which is how you can use logic to overrule and override those negative emotions. Because once you, even if you feel terrible, right? Even if you feel miserable while you're doing this, eventually, because you are dwelling on this idea of you being capable, of you being able, of you being competent, that is going to, again, shift the narrative. Option A, that old story, is leaving the stage, exiting stage left. And now you have this new identity that you are focused on creating through your robotic practice of affirming this over and over again. And that is how you are using logic to manifest. You are thinking logically of what is it that I do want? I know what I don't want, right? I know that this old story is what I do not want. That is what I was previously experiencing in my reality, and I don't like the results of that. I don't like the results of me perpetuating this story. It's creating more of the same. It's creating more of that lack, more of that anxiety, because it's like I feel like I'm powerless. I'm disempowered. I'm in this victim state of thinking. So I choose this empowered state, right? I choose to focus on what is it that I can be appreciative of? What is it that I have been able to change in my life before? What is it that is going well for me right now? And even if you aren't thinking of those things, you can think of things in your past. You can think of situations where you have been able to come out on top, situations that did work out in your favor. And you start dwelling and asking yourself the right questions. The logical mind now, the RAS, reticular activation system, is going to search out, because it has no choice. When you say, I don't want to think of a black cat, what do you think of? You think of a black cat. I don't want to think of a pink elephant. The mind has no choice but to picture a pink elephant. If you tell somebody, we are totally not going to go skydiving, that person is going to image in their mind the image of something related to skydiving, right? They're going to think of a parachute. They're going to be thinking of jumping off a plane. That is how the mind works. There's no getting around that. And this is a logical thing that, well, it only makes sense then if I dwell on this, or even if I say, oh, I don't prefer this. That's why the not technique works, right? I will not climb a ladder, or I will not think of a whatever. That works because the mind has no choice but to dwell on what you are imprinting with the word, with your affirmations. So using this, it doesn't matter what emotion you're in right now. Eventually, your emotions will catch up. And a lot of the time, it might take a while. You might be thinking, I have infinite power at my disposal. I'm an extremely capable, confident person. And you might be thinking, dang, I am really lying to myself right now because my external circumstances do not reflect this as being true. My current experience in the world up until now does not reflect that I'm capable, that I'm strong, that I'm confident, right? But you keep dwelling on this. It's going to inform your mental imagery. It's going to inform your mental movies. It's going to inform those internal representations that you have of yourself. When you dwell on strength, when you dwell on beauty, when you dwell on grace, when you dwell on being somebody that is firm, somebody that is capable, even by picturing what that looks like in other people. So the idea of it, the idea of picturing beautiful things in your mind, harmonious things in your mind, the idea of just entertaining it is going to have an effect, right? It's the same reason why when we watch reality TV like shows that are trashy, trashy reality TV, or we think about gossip, even though it's may not be related to us, we can't help but to attract more of that because we are simply putting our focus there. And your focused attention, where energy goes, where focus goes, attention grows. Like where energy goes, attention flows. Like I forget the phrasing of that statement, right? But you can see that by what you focus on, you are now creating more of that in your life. By what you think, by what you dwell on in your awareness, you are creating more of that in your life. So this is how we can use logic at our disposal. You know, people are always, and I really do think people miss the mark on this because, you know, Neville himself made a distinguishing, statement. I just don't think the word feeling is really the right word because we are not necessarily needing to have some sort of riled up emotional state when we're doing this. In fact, I think a lot of the time it's counterproductive. The feeling that we're looking for is that neutral observer of this, that neutral state of security, peace, safety. I mentioned on another recent video what the state of the wish fulfilled is, but that's getting off on a different tangent because the subject of this is forgetting about all that, leaving all that it doesn't matter. If you can't get into that emotional state, if you can't get into that feeling of the wish fulfilled, then F it. You know what I mean? Focus on this. Focus on putting your affirmations at the forefront. And I did a recent video about how this woman on Reddit, she had an amazing success story simply with 2 affirmations. The first one was about her partner, right? The SP one was simply, his name loves me and we are together now. So you pick your person's name, right? This person or she or he loves me and we are together now. She loves me and we are together now. Simple. You don't have to feel like it right now. You don't have to feel like it's true. You don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, like this person really, really loves me. It doesn't matter what you feel as long as you dwell on that state. And she did it for 15 minutes a day, 3 times a day, 15 minutes, 3 times a day. And I believe she did this for about 2 weeks before she got a message from this guy. And they hadn't seen each other for like three years or hadn't been in contact for 3 years. Crazy success story. You can watch it. It's a recent one I did about the Robotic Affirming success stories on the channel. Her second one was simply, I work at blank for the company. She wanted to get a job. It was in the tech industry. So I work at Google. I work at YouTube. I work at Francesca's, the clothing company. Whatever it is, right? Those are so simple. And again, you're not necessarily going to always feel it. And if you have trouble doing that, simply go back to this way of doing things, the logical way of doing things, which is that, yeah, if I simply dwell on this enough, if I simply instruct my conscious awareness of what to think about and impress my subconscious mind enough with this, rather than the old story, because it's neural pathways, nerve cells that fire together, wire together, as Joe Dispenza always says, right? So what we've been doing, unbeknownst to us consciously, a lot of the time, we're not even consciously aware of what we've been doing, but we've been telling ourselves this story that's, oh, I never get the job I want. Oh, I never get the person I want. Oh, I never get the friends I want, right? Now you're simply replacing that with this new story. That's the beauty and the power of robotic affirming, you guys. I am with this person. This person loves me and we're together now. I work at X job. You see how this works? It's very simple. Is it easy? Maybe not all the time. It takes some discipline. It takes some disciplining of the mind, disciplining of your awareness to continue to focus on this practice. And that is what walking by faith is. When you have true faith, that means you stick to something, you stick to your guns, you make a decision, you commit to it, and you have consistency with it, whatever practice that might be. Right now, we're talking about robotic affirming. If you're doing a scripting thing, you commit to that, you do it. If it's a meditation, you commit to it, you do it every single day. That's how you're gonna get results with this stuff. Anyways, guys, I hope that this has been helpful for you. I hope that this has given you another perspective on how you can use your logical mind to manifest things rather than always feeling like, you're not in the right feeling state, because a lot of the times that stuff can be very nebulous and people have a tough time understanding it. They have a tough time knowing if they're doing it right. With this, it's like, if you're doing it. If you're repeating the affirmation to yourself or not. There's no question about it. There should be no doubt in your mind, and it does work. Anyways, guys, much love as always. Drop this with a like, hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.